You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr., and I want to start off with asking you the most important question I'm going to ask you on today's show. You know, after Steph went cold against the Washington Wizards last week in a loss, which ended his streak of consecutive 30-plus point games, he got a haircut because he wanted a fresh start. Now, your boy over here got a haircut over the weekend as well. Not because I needed a fresh start or anything, but because the NFL draft is coming up later this week. You know that saying out there, look good, feel good, play good. So whose haircut is better, Steph Curry or Chase Sr.? Type S for Steph, type C for Chase. I don't know. Steph Curry's fade, kind of fresh. Like, my barber did a good job. I don't have a fade rocking, though. You could also type CS and get away with Chase and Steph. Just a hint right there. All right, let's check in with how the Warriors did over the weekend. They picked up wins against the Denver Nuggets and Sacramento Kings, staying hot in the process. And now the Warriors 7-3 in their last 10 games as they make a run at the NBA playoffs. And of course, Steph Curry continued to do Steph Curry things. 2 more games of 30-plus points for Steph Curry, who continues to make noise in the MVP conversation. Chef Curry still cooking it up hibachi style. 30-plus points in 12 of his last 13 games. He just recorded the most threes in a single month with 2 games left in April, and dropped 85 threes so far in the month of April. So the big question here, can Steph Curry record 100 threes this month with 2 games left in April against the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves? That's 7 each game with a little bit of wiggle room here and there. I think he can. He'll need like 7 and 8 in each game. So tell me, can Steph Curry surpass 100 threes in April? I've never been great at math. I flunked elementary algebra in college, but you get the thought process there. Type H for yes, he's going to hit that mark. Type M for miss. Let's take a look at his numbers in the month of April. One of the best offensive months that we have seen in the history of the NBA. 35.5 minutes a night, 38-plus points, still shooting nearly 53% from the floor. And while that three-point percentage has dropped a little bit, it's still cooking at 47%. Now, the Warriors have climbed up Kevin O'Connor's power rankings with The Ringer, and I thought he had something interesting to say about Steph Curry's game during the 2021 season, and I wanted to pass that along. Has some analytics to it, but it does point to the progression of Steph Curry. This is what Kevin O'Connor had to say. A career-high 26% of Curry's total shots are driving layups or floaters, according to Second Spectrum. He's hitting 59% of those shots, which ranks 10th in the league of the 113 players to log at least 100 attempts. By comparison, Giannis ranks first at 67%. Of course, many of his makes are dunks that are classified as layups. Now, we think historically of Steph Curry as just a shooter, but he is much more than that. And throughout this season, he has shown that he's developed his game over time. He's really progressed, and he has become an all-around player. And I think not just because of his torrid stretch in April, but because of how he's played all year. This is Steph's best season of his career. In years past, he's been able to rely on sidekicks like Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant. But with that supporting cast being more depleted this year, all of the offensive burden has been on Steph Curry's shoulders, and he has risen to the occasion and played the best basketball of his entire career, and I think it's been magical to watch, and that's why he has vaulted up the MVP conversation. Now, in terms of the Western Conference standings, Steph trying to vault the Warriors up the Western Conference playoff hunt hasn't necessarily been able to do so because things have been so competitive in the West. Jazz, Suns, Clippers, Nuggets, Lakers in those 1 through 5 spots, and the Warriors still sitting there pretty firmly at 10th place. But take a look at the difference between the Mavericks in at 6th place at 33-26 and the Warriors at 31-30. 2 games back in the win column are the Warriors from the 6th-seeded Mavericks. If the Warriors can avoid that play-in tournament, they're going to be really dangerous. Even if the Warriors are in the play-in tournament, get the 8th seed and play the Utah Jazz, you know who the Jazz don't want to face in the playoffs? It is the Golden State Warriors. And Juan Toscano-Anderson, who himself, he's been playing really well of late, said as much. Nobody wants to play the Warriors right now given how we're playing. This is what JTA had to say. We're starting to gain some traction and clicking. What better time to gain some traction than toward the end of the season? If I was another team, I wouldn't want to run into Steph Curry and the Warriors in the playoffs. I totally agree with Juan Toscano-Anderson right there. Steph Curry's playing really well. The bench has started to be more productive. The defensive unit progressing a little bit. They've been better after really just a bad stretch there all the way up until the halfway point of the season. But mostly it's because Steph Curry is straight up sizzling right now, is why teams don't want to face the Warriors in the Western Conference playoffs. So do you agree with JTA there? Get into the comments and let me know. Type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. So if you made it this far on Warriors Today, you must really like what you're watching here. At least we hope so here at Chat Sports. We are moving fast towards 16,000 subscribers, and we're getting there slowly but surely. We're currently at 15,722. So if you haven't subscribed already, you're making a huge mistake. Just hit that big red button down below, because with the NBA playoffs coming up right around the corner, we are going to be covering the Warriors as they make that playoff push. And with the NBA draft in July, we're already looking ahead, pushing out NBA draft scouting profiles. So subscribe to Warriors Today by Chat Sports right now and get us to 16,000 subscribers. This is Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr. Let's get into the latest Warriors rumors and news. And Stephen A. Smith went on the jump on ESPN and blasted Andrew Wiggins on Monday, saying the Warriors should get rid of the swingman. Now, here's the thing with Andrew Wiggins. He's under contract through 2022-2023. And his salary cap hit, it's a hefty one. Cap hits of $31.5 million as well as $33.5 million. Now, Andrew Wiggins is a solid player. He's not necessarily worth that price right there. And I think that's where Stephen A. Smith is coming from. But this is what he had to say. And we know that Stephen A. Smith likes to keep it real and all, but man, I mean, he ran over Andrew Wiggins with an 18-wheeler and then backed over him once again. This is what Stephen A. had to say on the jump. I'd give Andrew Wiggins away for a bag of cookies. There's something about him that says he doesn't want it. If you look at Andrew Wiggins' raw numbers, you wouldn't come up with the conclusion of this guy doesn't want it. He doesn't care. 18 points per game this year, little less than 5 rebounds, shooting a respectable 47% from the floor and 38% from 3. So I want to ask you this. Do you side with Stephen A. Smith in saying that you'd give Andrew Wiggins away for a bag of cookies? Type A for agree, type D for disagree. This is where I stand on Andrew Wiggins. He is never going to be the player that we thought he once was when he was selected number 1 overall in the 2014 NBA draft. Certainly he is athletic, but his game has never evolved to the point where he is a well-rounded superstar who can hit you at all 3 levels with just a beautiful arsenal of offensive basketball. But he has been a productive player in his NBA career, and I think for Andrew Wiggins, he fits on a championship playoff contender as maybe a 4th option. For me, he reminds me a lot of Harrison Barnes, a guy who Warriors fans know, a guy who was a championship caliber piece on a team that won a championship, but never lived up to the aforementioned expectations of being the next great one. Andrew Wiggins is a good player. You can even say he's a really good player. He's certainly not a great player. Would I trade him away for a bag of cookies? No. Is he worth way too much money, or is he getting paid way too much money? Certainly. But I think once Klay Thompson comes back and you pair Andrew Wiggins up with Draymond, Steph, and Klay, that can be a pretty formidable Warriors team.